Okay, apparently we're live. Um, all right, it went from dark to bright. It's all right. So welcome back to the stream. Um, I watched one last night. This guy Nedzo's, and he wants to wait until he'd had a number of people in. As far as I'm concerned, because I'll rattle on for like an hour or something, and if people jump on, they want to hear me talk about stuff. We'll just go over again. Um. I just finished watching the Gold Coast race, and yeah, that second race wasn't as insane as I might have been expecting. Um, but there was a fair bit going on though. There was like Kai Allen versus Randall. That was pretty intense. Deepa Pasquale putting the move on Courtney, and I'm gonna check the. Apparently, there's an article on Supercars website talking about whatever Anton has to say about the movie put on James Courtney. I think he just didn't have the pace, and he did a half-assed move and stuck him in the fence, and that's just not on. And it wasn't too bad until he was just like Courtney was just in the wrong spot. It would have been alright to keep going until Stanaway just plowed into the back of him. So bit of a screw up there. And then there was the strategy with Kostecki and Wood. Oh, Kostecki and Wood. I don't know why they thought it was a good idea to try the undercut. They pitted on lap 6, and I thought there's a better way to do it. Like I would do it the other way. I would run longer than anyone else, so that when it comes to the very end of the race, you're on fresh tires. But instead, they were just sort of hoping for a repeat of yesterday's race, pitted on lap 6, and just got caught out, really. I think they tried it with LeBrock yesterday. There were a few cars that tried that sort of strategy, and it didn't work out. LeBrock, Percat, and I think Kai Allen tried it as well, maybe. And Kai and Reynolds, and Kai was the only one that actually made it work, probably because he was saving fuel during the race. I was surprised that Courtney was able to go that long on the Saturday race. Throat getting tickly. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, so the three guys that are out are Wood, Kostecki, and Deepa Pasquale. And yeah, Anton probably could have made the finals, but he just he just wasn't gonna be the guy today. And that was unfortunate because I thought, he's got the pace on Courtney. If he just like, I know it's 8 laps to go, but don't win it or bin it, all right? What you're hoping to do is to get that position done. And I don't know if he was one position off getting in the finals, but yeah, I don't think it was right. But yeah, Kostecki and Wood, they needed to win. And what else? Chaz Mostert won both races. It'll be good to see what the standings are after that. So I'll bring up the Supercars website and I'll just have a look, see what's going to be said. So what's Anton had to say? He got 15 seconds, which is what you get when you put someone on the fence. Holding the final transfer spot. Why are they making up terms? For God's sake, like the Supercars website, making up terms. They talk about the cutoff line, right? And what they really need to do, because it said like -9 and minus, like +9 and -9 leading into the weekend. And what they meant was the one who's ahead is ahead by 9 seconds, and the one who's behind is behind the other guy by 9 seconds, by 9 points. And But it should just be one of them is at 0. The guy in 7th place is at 0, right? He's safe until someone else gets him. Yeah. Holding the final transfer spot, which just it just makes no sense. Randall Hayden through the field, deep Scotty beginning to charge his way forward. Did he? I don't think he did. Courtney did not seem to quite have the race pace. Massive battle pack triggered by contact between Kostecki and Stanaway. Yeah, I think Richie was just a bit too aggressive. He waited until it was impossibly late heading into the beach chicane, and then he went, "Oh no, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna." He was yeah. He was just such the last minute that Brodie was forced to go straight through, and then he's because I think Brodie's tires were pretty shot. Richie's come in a lot hotter than Brodie and tagged him. Brodie didn't like it because it was a bit of a bump, and yeah, Brodie's just parked the bus, and yeah, Richie was trying way too desperately, but Richie's sort of got nothing to lose. He's not in the finals, and so yeah, he's just trying to get the best position possible. So yeah, a bit of tantrum chucking going on. Yeah, so we saw this move, took a defensive line, yeah, tapped him, and yeah. Very disappointing. I think we had a fast car both races. Unfortunately, missed out in the finals because of some Stewart's decision. Yeah, it's a bit disappointing. We can't sort of argue it or have our own say. I think we're pretty stiff. Had a fast car, move forward, racing pretty hard, and yeah, on the bad end of some decisions, I think. Well, yeah. The lead car turns down and you should try to make the move. Always looks worse for the person trying to overtake. Anton probably was at fault most, but it did still take some movement from James Courtney to end up having an accident. Yeah. It's because he went in the fence. That's why it's 15 seconds. It's about the result. It's about what happened. Yeah, go back to Feeney and Mostert at Adelaide, right? He bumps him, goes in the fence, in the same way that a rotation is a 15-second penalty. You've put him off. They're stuck there, right? Yeah, I don't know. I think it was fine. I think 15 seconds is fine. What else have we got? What did Brody have to say about losing in the finals? Probably that crash in quali put him in a bad position. It was going to be pretty unlikely. Tried something different strategy, didn't quite pay off. Didn't really have the car speed to do it. That's how this final format is. It's been a crazy weekend. I'd love to be part of it going forward, but for us, we'll just keep doing what we're doing, try to win some races and go fun for the rest of the year. Yep. Go through this weekend. There's a few mistakes, obviously on the Friday, and then what happened in qualifying. So we'll dig deep and come back as a collective. Hopefully, we can get some more. Yeah, he crashed in on the Friday. A lot of crashes in Gold Coast for him. I think, and Will Brown as well was also getting wiped up. Yeah, I think that's it. Oh, we've got the press conference. I don't know if I want to watch that, but yeah. We've got Speed Cafe. He feels hard done by. Yeah. But I wanted to see what the point score is. So, Does it say here? Yeah, here's the standing. So Mostert has gone up to second. So he's so what in the world? What's this gap? 276 from what? Oh, from seventh. Right there. This should be 0. Seventh should be 0. Right. So yeah. So Anton, Woody, and Brody were out. Yeah, Randall, Allen, Brown. Randall sort of benefits from the final system, but obviously onto a track where he's been quite good at in the past, 23, 24. And Kai has started to get really good as well. Will Brown probably has the most to lose because he's dropping positions by not qualifying well, and here at the Gold Coast getting in incidents. So now I think there is a 4,000 point reset. I think. They got anything more to add to that? No, I don't think so. So yeah, I think we get a 4,000 point reset, and then they start tacking on some more bonus points. Yeah, that's about as good as it gets. There's also interesting stuff going on in Formula One at the moment, because Oscar Piastri has not been qualifying well and has not had race pace. He didn't really have it at Kota, and he just hasn't had the pace at Mexico. So hopefully Oscar's able to move forward and get a move done. But I've just remembered I've got my GRM gear on. I also had it on yesterday as well. I have my my blue shirt on, which is in the thumbnail of the stream. When I had my photo with Gary Rogers. So my story of I was never part of the team or anything like that, but I was a team member through like buying team membership, and that was mainly because it was bang for your buck to get I think it was called the Geek Team Member for Gary Rogers Motorsport in 2017. I think my first race that I was a Gary Rogers team member was at Phillip Island, 2017. And that was a pretty exciting time because I think Moff got a 4th and Garth got a 3rd as well. So, yeah, that was a pretty good time. But also, this was 2017 with the tyre situation where the tyres were just going to explode on everyone. And if you actually watch that Phillip Island race, everyone's just going unbelievably slowly. Like those tyres sucked. And yeah, it was just unbelievably bad. Like everyone needed to be looking after the tires and have like hardly any camber. I think Chaz Mostert, who got a win at Phillip Island that year, it was he just said that they had like no camber on the tire or something like that. So it was just they were just looking after the tire. That's all they were doing. And I think Larko was trying to say, "Oh, there's extreme camber," but nope. It was just the tire. So yeah, that was the how I became a team member of Gary Rogers. It was just bang for your buck. It was cheaper. I was looking at it, all the different options. There was like Mobil 1 HSV, Walkinshaw, and I can't remember what other teams, but like Tickford and stuff. And I thought I want one where I get stuff. And actually, you know what? I've got it all here, so I'll be able to show you guys what I got as a Gary Rogers team member. Ta-da. So I got a sticker there. I got this card that I could get signed, and I also got this photo of when they revealed the car. Um, so yeah, Gary Rogers, Garth Tander, and James Moffat, and got the sticker as well, which I haven't used. Um, and because of that bang for your buck that you would get in a Gary Rogers team membership, I kept going and was there for 2018. Where are we looking? Here we go, 2018 here. They had an apology because with the team member caps, a delay. Workshop tours, but I'm from Adelaide, so there was no chance of me going to that. I got the yearbook as well, 29. Like, you get so much cool stuff. It was $125 team membership, and you get a card that's signed. You get a nice letter from the team, and you get the yearbook. It was awesome. This is where you got 2019 that stuff, and then also I got a yearbook as well. So yeah, and then obviously went to Team 18 because that's where Jimmy Golding went. So that's what things look like for 2017 Gary Rogers Motorsport. And so yeah, because of the bang for your buck from 2017, I upgraded from Geek Team member to full team member 2018. I don't remember what it was called. I had like a few options. I had like the smallest option. Walkinshaw had like a badge. I think Nissan had a badge as well. And I thought, I just don't really care for badges. I wanna get something that's actually that's gonna be good. So, and I wanted something that was actually gonna be meaningful. Like, I don't really care about pins and badges. I want like signatures, photos. I wanna have a bit more hands-on stuff. So yeah, so 2018 I can't remember what it was called, a full team member, what it was called. And then I carried that on to 2019, and 2019 we were expecting Garth Tander and Jamie Golding, and this is the hat from 2019. And as you can tell, it is not a Boost Mobile hat, and that's because we went into the season not expecting things to be Boost Mobile. So we got Valvoline because that's their long-time sponsor, and Wilson Security had pulled out, so they weren't going to have Wilson Security. It was going to be a pretty tight situation, and I don't know what the expectation was in terms of major sponsorship, but it was going to be really, like, I was expecting white cars in 2019 with Tanda and Golding written on the side with a little bit of Valvoline. That's what it was going to look like. And then we get the news on, I think, was it the 6th of January or the 9th of January? Garth Tander out, Richie Stanaway in, Boost Mobile in. That was kind of shocking. I was like, oh wow, that's big. And Gary did he wrote I think a letter to everyone. I think I can't remember what it was, but he definitely said, look, we've made a business decision so that everyone's getting paid and everyone's having a good time. We're not like we're not we're not we're not we're not we're not selling the farm to pay for Garth Tander. So, we're going to take this choice that Peter Adderton and Boost Mobile have given us, and we're going to take the money, we're going to take the driver, and Richie's worth a chance. He's worth giving a chance. He has the ability, but it's not like he doesn't come in with that raw natural talent that other people seem to have when they come into the main game. So yeah, Gary made this decision. Garth felt a bit blindsided. If he knew that he wasn't going to be full time in 2019, then he would have actually just officially retired, and he would have been able to book some. Um, he wants to be able to book something so his friends and family could come and celebrate his career after his last race. Um, so 2019, we had a livery reveal party at Gary Rogers' garage at the Clipsal 500 at the Super Loop Adelaide 500. And I got this email saying, "Hey, come to this thing," and I thought, "Awesome! This is going to be great." And I'm going to get to go and see the car, see the team, maybe meet Gary, and all of that did happen. Except it didn't happen quite the way I thought it would. Like, so the time came, I went to the Adelaide 500, but it was on a Wednesday, right? And the first day of the race weekend is a Thursday. So you don't have a Wednesday ticket, so I just went to the track, went up to security and said, "Hey, there's this thing I'm supposed to be getting through, that I'm supposed to be going to." And then they had to radio around and say, "I guess there's an event going on," and so they have to wave me through. The bridge was actually fenced off, so you couldn't just walk across the bridge like you can normally. I just had to I just had to go up to every security person and say, "Yeah, this is what's going on. This is where I'm going to." Then I finally got into the back of the pits, into the back of the garages in the paddock, and um, there was a garage that was a little bit like the garage door was a little bit up because I was running late, and I wasn't the only one running late. I later found out, but I was like, "Oh my god, I'm late. Maybe I'm not supposed to join." And there was this girl with a supercar shirt on. She looked official, so I asked her. I was like, "Hey, I'm supposed to be at this thing," and she's like, "Yeah, you can just roll under." A bunch of other people did. So I rolled on. I crawled under the door. I'm looking up. There's Jimmy Golding and Richie Stanaway standing there, and I'm like, "Oh my god, what have I done?" And I went straight through, and I went to the back of the crowd, and I thought, I'm just gonna pretend I don't exist. Um, so yeah, and then they took the covers off the cars. We saw the cars. It was great. And they had like all of the team all had like the white shirts with the um, Boost Mobile logo, and I think Greg Murphy actually was there. Was it Murph? Who was it? I think it might have been Murph because he's a Boost ambassador. So I think he might have been there. I think Peter Adderton was definitely there as well. Obviously, he would be because it's a livery reveal season launch. Um, so yeah, and there was also these funny videos that they put out as well, introducing Richie Stanaway and Jimmy Golding. So Jimmy Golding's like this weightlifting driver, and he got a hernia, and it was funny. And then Richie Stanaway's one is like, yeah, he was just this country boy. Now he's a racing driver for Gary Rogers. That stuff was so funny. Um, and what else? So yeah, once they'd finished doing the announcements and stuff, we got to mill around, check out the car, and so I got to talk to a bunch of the mechanics and stuff like that. Um, I was just sort of standing around and ended up talking to this one guy who had done what was it? It wasn't an apprenticeship. It was like work experience. He'd done work experience for Gary Rogers, and so I got talking to this guy, and he had a 2018 Wilson Security shirt on. And so, I asked him, how'd you get involved in Gary Rogers? And yeah, he told me about that. and he told me like the first season he got into supercars was 2012, and I thought, oh, 2012 isn't really a great season to watch because half the field's not competitive. Which maybe I'm wrong about that, but maybe maybe yeah, maybe I got to go back and have another look. So yeah, talking to this guy, and then obviously because this guy had worked at Gary Rogers, um, he talked to a bunch of the mechanics and stuff like that. This guy Scott Birch, who is it Birch or Burke? I think it's Scott Birch. Um, he was he would be in the videos, and he was in his pajamas at Sydney Motorsport Park, um, and for the night race 2018, and they were doing videos talking about all the stuff they have to deal with in the team. And so yeah, I got to talk to a bunch of those guys, and that was really cool. And then I got to have a little chat with Gary Rogers. He came by, he had a chat with the guy that I've been talking to, and I asked Gary because in the pictures of the 2019 Gary Rogers car, I'll see if I can actually find a photo of it. I don't think I've got one lying around though, but it had tires on it that this is not going to be easy to find. Hang on. So Jimmy Golding is at Premier currently. Not 25. We want 2019. It's not really going to have the fancy artwork and stuff, is it? So it's not. Maybe it's Richie because obviously they were both driving for the team that year. There's a bruised looking car. What have I got that photo for? That is a crashed Gary Rogers car. I don't know what one that was, but it's not a happy looking car. Oh, here we go. Here we go. All right, so I'm gonna share the photo. How do I do it? Hang on. No, I gotta open it up and then I can share it. So, I go to I'll do and then stop. And here we go. There's the image. All right, cool. So, yeah. All right. So this is the image. I'm gonna move this out of the way. So you can see on the tires. This is what I'm talking about. It says Gary Rogers Motorsport since 1963. And I asked Gary about him. Well, actually, the first thing he said, he was appreciating the livery. Said, yeah, it was a good looking livery. And my comment was, doesn't mean the car's fast. And like the main thing is that if the car's fast. And he said, yeah, and his take that he'd sort of learned about recently at that time was, presentation is also pretty important. You can't have a half-assed looking car and not have and also have it be slow, because then that looks worse. So they got a flash looking livery, which at the time we all said it looked basically the same as 2018 Mobile One Boost Mobile, but there's some subtle differences. Bit hard to get it too different if they need it to be black base with a little bit of orange and silver going on. So yeah, I asked him about the tires. I'm like, what are those tires? And he said they're usedies. So they've just written something on the side, and so that's why they're Gary Rogers Motorsport tires. Because obviously, if they were race tires, it would be Dunlop Supermax written on the side. Um, so yeah, that was one thing. And then I stuck around a bit too long at the season launch. I think it was supposed to end at 6 o'clock, and I hadn't been told to leave yet. And this is a mistake that I'm not going to make again. But I ended up sticking around, and um, hang on, it'd be good if I could. It doesn't want to work. All right, I'll find that. Now I'm gonna find another picture. So I stuck around, and I was just sort of looking a bit awkward, as you do, and I looked at the car, and there was another guy looking at the car, and I didn't know who this guy was. He didn't look too fancy. Just looked like a guy wearing a flannel shirt, and then he was talking to Gary and Barry Rogers, and I'll find the photo. Hang on, where is it? Here we go. Alright, so I'll show this. So, whoops. Oh, hang on. No, not that one. Why doesn't it want to work? There we go. So, um, this is the photo that I got with Gary Rogers. So, and you can actually see the white sidewalls of the tires a lot better in this photo than you can with the professional one with Richie in the front of it. So I was sort of standing behind them. Gary and Barry Rogers sitting there, this other bloke sitting there. I didn't really hear what they had to say. Um, but um, I sort of asked them if I could join them, and they said, "What? Have a beer with us?" And it was a bit of an embarrassing situation for me. I think it was Gary who said, "What? Have a beer with us?" And yeah, it was an embarrassing situation for me. Barry took kindly on me and said, "Hey mate, do you want to have a photo with Gary?" And yeah, so I had the photo with Gary, and then I got the hell out of there because it was just yeah, that was embarrassing. So that's my story of meeting Gary Rogers and stuff going on. And Barry sort of said to me, he said, "Yeah, this is having a business chat with this guy." Um, and yeah, I don't think anything came of it. If there was any sponsorship or anything coming up through that, but yeah, so yeah, an embarrassing story for me for sure. I've got other versions of this same story um, on the Pokemon, no, not Pokemon, Metroid Fusion playthrough on Same Industries, and so yeah, that's another one that I could, if you wanted, I could send the link to that, or maybe I'll just clip this, and I don't know. It's a bit of I've been a bit start stoppy with the story. Um, so yeah, that's my Gary Rogers story. And yeah, it's unfortunate to hear that he's passed away recently. He was 80 years old, and he'd lived very much quite a life by that stage as well. So you know, can't say we didn't expect um, that it might happen one day. But yeah, definitely sad to hear that Gary Rogers passed away because he's just a good honest bloke. Um, and yeah, obviously my story is a lot more embarrassing for me than anything. Um, And yeah, all right. So I think that's all I've got to say about my Gary Rogers story. And I've recapped Gold Coast. So now I know we've got the Formula One coming up later tonight. I'll probably watch it, and we'll see how that goes. But now I'm going to. What else have we got? I'll show you this photo as well. So this is a photo that I've got. So yeah, here's the drivers. You got Jimmy, you got Richie there. Everything looking great. Great looking race suits. There's this lanky dude right at the back because, like I said, I just needed to go right to the back. The covers were on the car when I went past, and yeah, so I think yes, this is the some sort of video that they did by Boost Mobile, which was I think they just rebranded Gary Rogers, and so yeah, you probably I don't know if there's too much, but I think it was probably a lot more just showing the individual team members and stuff like that. But yeah, I was busy that day, and I got home, I had something to eat, and then I got straight on the bus and went to town. That's why I was late. It was frustrating. If I knew I was going to be late, I probably would have been earlier. But I've made enough mistakes in my life to not be late anymore. 2019 in itself, the number of things that I've been late to. Yeah, I'm just not. I'm just not going to be late to things anymore. Um, so yeah, that's what we got going on there. So now, I'm going to. Oh, and by the way, the photo with Gary that was taken by Barry. So yeah, I gave Barry my phone, and he took a photo. Um, so yeah, with what else we got? One's a bit blurry, and the other one's a bit better. But yeah, cool to say I got a photo with with Gary taken by Barry. All right, now let's get back to business. And so I've done a little bit of work lately. I want to try and get some videos going of what's called my How Good Was series. So I've got my Frosty video talking about how good was Mark Winterbottom. I've got a bunch in the works. We've talked about Greg Murphy. Then I've got Stephen Richards. Um, then I think I did SVG, then Scafey, and now I'm working on Garth Tander. So I've got another 5 in the works. Last night I went and got a bunch of photos of Stephen Richards every year of his career, Greg Murphy every year of his career. So pretty much got them ready to go. I just need to get on top of a bunch of other stuff. Um, yeah, but time's going to be mm, a bit touch and go this week. Tomorrow I got to go to the shop, so I won't quite be able to do that. But I guess we'll see what time the stream here finishes. I might end up spending some time editing the Greg Murphy video. I have done the audio for it. I just need to make the pictures. I think 2012 Rick Kelly was the hardest photo to find. And so all I've got is like a photo that's got Todd and Rick Kelly, but it's so tiny that it's blurry. So I'm like, okay, this is the closest thing we get to 2012 Rick Kelly. Unless we find a race where he crashes out or he has a DNF, and then they interview him, so then you get like a clear picture. So, so I'll show Garth Tander because I learned Garth Tander was kind of unbeatable since 1998. In terms of qualifying trim, Garth Tander smashed everyone. He smashed Jason Bargwanna, Jamie Whincup, Cam McConville, and Rick Kelly in 05 and 06, and probably in 07 as well. Garth Tander was just unbelievably good. So I'm gonna have. Wait, no, hang on. Oh, that's annoying. Have this sitting here. That looks good. Okay, so now we're gonna show my Garth Panda stuff that we got going on here. And so yeah, here we got 1998 Garth Panda. Bargs out qualifies him pretty much all year. But as you can see here, like Garth wasn't too bad. Like the expectations of a rookie driver should be pretty much his teammate who is more experienced than him should smash him. This was actually Barg's first full-time season, right? And this is only showing the races where Garth was teammates with, since Garth started. We do have the first 3 rounds of the championship when we look at Stephen Richards' career. So we've kind of got like bit of bugs here, bit of bugs there. If I ever decide to make a Jason Bargwana, how good was video, then we will. I'll have to put that piece that together. I do have some bits with Garth Panda from the Mark Scaife one because they were obviously teammates in 2008. So when I get up to doing a 2008, I'll just copy and paste that and swap the results around so that I have a bit of a rule with my approach because now it's like the 6th one I've done. Drivers on the left, teammates on the right. And then we do a bit of, qualifying performances stuff going on there, championship position. And any important notes that I need to make, like notes like Mark Scaife only did 1 round or missed a round and didn't really do a full season until 1990 or even until 1991 because I think he missed a round in 1990. But also he drove different cars. He drove like the Nissan GTR and then he drove the other one. So yeah, little details like that can be pretty important. So yeah, I'm just going to go through things here about Garth, and one day I'll do a proper video, but it's not going to be till because it's the most recent one. It's going to take me a long time to get to it. So yeah, so Bargs smashed Garth in qualifying all year. Then they got up to Oran Park, and it was the first time that Garth qualified in the top 10. And like, it's not like Bargs was being incredibly flash. He qualified in the top 10 3 times. Yeah, Bargs I think qualified in the top 10 3 times because Garth did it once as well. So maybe the cars had developed to be better, but Garth was getting better and better and better. 14th, 11th, 14th, whereas Bargs was obviously the lead driver doing a lot better. And Bargs definitely had the capability to win races and get podiums, and he was on song at the end of the year. But he got out qualified by Garth. Bugs was faster than him in these 2 races here, but yeah, since that first time that Garth out qualified Bugs, he just started doing it all the time. So 99, he's just beating him like non-stop and starts like putting in incredible performances. Something happens at Adelaide where Garth ends up dropping from 4th to 24th. And yeah, gets his first podium in at Eastern Creek. And then what else have we got? We got yeah, second race. The thing is, like back at this time, they have round podiums. So if you got to be the 3rd highest scoring driver, so if you got to win, maybe you'd be higher in the point score. But I think Queensland might have been his first round win. There's a lot of complications. I think it's one of those rounds where different people did different things. So Garth's first race win appears to be Calder Park 99. But he was running up the front at Queensland and then finally got a race win at Calder. And then that's his first win. Then you got Bargs, who's up and down. Crashes a bit much, gets involved in the incidents a lot. And just things going wrong all the time for Bargs. Sweeps Winton in 99, but Bargs definitely had him hand over fist in the championship. 28 top 10s for Garth and 18 top 10s for Jason Bargwanna. Then 2000, Garth just destroys Bargs 100% of the time. Garth outqualified Bargs. Lots of top 10s for Garth, not so much for Bargs. Bargs was actually a little bit worse than he was before. And it makes me sort of reconsider my thoughts on Bargs, because I think when I talked about him in the Mark Winterbottom video, obviously Frosty was teammates with Bargs for his first 2 years. And I think I said something like, oh, Bargs has had pole positions and won races, but I'm like, has Bargs ever had a pole position? What do we got? So, yeah, no pole there. He's got a pole here. He did win Winton from pole, smashed everyone. But that might have been it. Yeah, I know 2002 he won Gold Coast. It was a bit of a fluke sort of result. And then Bargs got brought across to Larko, maybe a bit of Ford money helped pay the bills there. 2001, Garth Smash and JB. Again, and the cars weren't as good. So they switched to the VX. They parked the Bathurst winning car and built new cars for 2001. And I guess they just didn't have the magic in those cars because they struggled a lot more. Where they were qualifying a lot further down. 2000, Garth was constantly up the front. 2001, he's barely getting in the 10. And 2002, same sort of story. They just struggle straight all year long. And so Bargs gets let go. They signed Jamie Whincup, put him in. Jamie Whincup actually out-qualified Garth at Winton. Running out of fuel, that's a bit of an error. Mechanical failure for Jamie Whincup. The thing is about mechanical failures is that sometimes they're caused by a driver doing something. Where when they're talking about with Ryan Wood's failure, I think Mark Scaife was suggesting that maybe hitting the curbs too hard might cause those sorts of incidents or those sorts of mechanical failures. So something to think about. So yeah, Garth doing a great job 2003, grabbing lots of top 10s as often as he can. And Jamie Whincup was barely getting in the top 20. But he did put through a big performance in that third race at Darwin. So he started 29th, raced up to 20th, first top 20 of the year, crashes in the second race, and then in the next race goes from possibly last up to 11th, storming drive, and just does not qualify in the top 20 at any point in the year apart from that fluky one at Winton, whatever happened there. But from Darwin onwards, Jamie starts racing into the 20 and getting some more top 20s. He's got a 25th up to 12th at the Gold Coast there. Another top 20 there. And then a much better weekend at Eastern Creek, 13th and 15th. But by that point, Gary had enough and he didn't want to have Jamie Whincup anymore. They needed to be getting results. So they signed Cam McConville. And I think we were talking about how good Jamie Whincup was, and he just wasn't. He just wasn't that good in 2003. He needed to kick up the arse. He has acknowledged that he maybe didn't do a good enough job. So yeah, 2004, I thought that maybe Cam McConville might have been a lot better than he was in 04. So here we've got, Garth Smash and McConville, which is sort of what you expect. The car was really, really quite possibly worse than it was in '03 or '02 or '01. They'd sort of it was getting worse, right? And this is Garth's last year with the team, and he's doing as good a job as he can. And McConville's just struggling. He's he can't come 15th, whereas Garth's come 15th often enough. Had a lot of issues, and but then eventually McConville just stabs into 6th at Perth, power steering failure, and then drags it from 13th up to 18th, which maybe that's not that impressive. And then a storming drive at Queensland, 28th up to 10th, but it's probably a 100 lapper race, so as long as he doesn't do anything too stupid, he could get some results. The crazy one was Winton getting the win there. Garth started on the front row, dropped to 9th. Cam started 10th, drove up to the race win. Rick Kelly actually started way down the back, like 19th or something. Raced his way up to 2nd, so he had pace to burn. And then McConville's improving again, 12th up to 8th, and something happens in the second race at Oran Park. Then they team up at Sandown. Something happens at Bathurst. Not sure what happened, but they were out. Then we've got Gold Coast, which they just seem to have no pace. That second race, not too bad there for Garth. McConville, though, 21st up to 10th. Basically had the same result as what Garth did on the Sunday. But then McConville moved up to 6th as well. Started racking up some top 10s towards the end of the season. And that got him into 13th in the championship. So Cam McConville's season with Garth Tander at GRM was not quite as good as he might have thought. That win at Winton probably brought him from way down the bottom to a lot closer to the front. So it brought him into the conversation there, and then he's just racking up top 15s every race pretty much. Garth, he got some mechanical failures here that really, really hurt him. Yeah. So then Garth takes an opportunity, goes to Walkinshaw, becomes teammates with Rick Kelly, who in 2004 had destroyed Greg Murphy, out qualifying him, getting 2 race wins versus was it 2 race wins or 3 race wins? Rick won some races in 2004. Greg Murphy only got the one, which was Bathurst. So Garth joins that team replacing Greg Murphy. And then Garth out qualifies Rick. Just once he's worked out, like you can see, first 2 races, so Rick Flexer gets pole and then struggles for ages until they get their head around the car. Garth has 2 race weekends where he just struggles to get qualifying right. Some stalling performances there, 32nd up to 17th. And 20th up to 9th, great job. And then he starts qualifying in the top 10. So Garth starts racking up some results. So, you've got the prodigal son, Rick Kelly, who's supposed to be this incredible talent. And then you've got real talent. Garth Tander rocks up and just destroys Rick Kelly. Just makes him look like he's just not even trying hard enough. Gets to Darwin, he starts racking up, gets his first win of the year. Rick doesn't get a win all year, so Garth gets one at Darwin. Podium, puts it on pole at Sandown 500. And I don't know who qualified though. I think it might have been Garth. Then smashes everyone at Tassie. And then he's up the front at Phillip Island as well. So you go, oh, here we go. Look how good Garth is. So, go to 2006. You think, oh, maybe Rick's a lot closer because he obviously won the championship. Nope. Garth destroys a lot of people. It was pretty rare to find Rick Kelly anywhere near the front. Fourth, 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 third, third. Garth spends most of his qualifying in the season. Most of the time, he's in the first two rows. Two races he's not. Winton and Oran Park. Just in terms of the way he starts the weekend. And then, things happen. Doesn't always work out perfectly. Garth dropped from first to 20th. Got to carve his way through the field. Reverse grid race. 8th up to first. Reverse grid races made things a bit harder for him. But I think it really showed whether a driver was really good. And you could see Garth was actually able to get his way through the field without too much trouble. Apart from this one at Oran Park. 2006, he just did not seem to have the pace. 31st up to 21st, it's not very good. But then that next race, 30th up to 5th, that is a storming performance. That might be one of his best in his entire career. Last to first is hard, really hard. And there might have been safety cars. There was a bit of an action-packed weekend, 06 Oran Park. In one of them, I think it must have been this one, 26th up to 13th for Rick Kelly, because he ended up in the dirt. And then this is where Garth's season comes undone. Sandown and Bathurst. Scafie puts it on pole at Sandown and Bathurst, and they just have everything go wrong for them. Garth gets back in his own car, starts smashing heaps of people. This second one, I reckon did he get a penalty for? He might have had an issue. I think something happened with the car. I know in one of them he got a black flag for blocking. Was it that one, or that maybe it was Todd Kelly got done for blocking? There was a bit of that sort of stuff going on in 2006. People complaining about blocking. And yeah, Rick just got it on consistency. You can see Rick technically had more top tens than Garth, but Garth was smashing him in quali, and he had things outside of his control going wrong. I don't know what happened in this race at Pukekohe, but he's dropped the 20th. Power steering failure at Oran Park, which put him out. I think it wasn't even his fault. He was doing a great job, and then the car died on him. He was leading the championship at the time, and then just didn't quite have what they needed in the second race, and then totally bad luck at St. Anne and Bathurst. I think this one in 06. Now there's two last 20 laps of Sandown that I've seen. I think 05. Is it 05 or was it 06? It's 05 I'm thinking of. Who wins the 2005 Sandown 500? I think it's Scaife and Todd. I think Scaife and Todd win 2005 Sandown 500. Am I wrong? Because I know who wins 06, and you do see... hang on. No. It was Craig Lowndes and Yvonne Muller win the 2005 Sandown 500. Because it was Lowndes versus Scafie. So, yeah. And then 2006, the front bit of the car is just broken. The front splitter is just like gone like that at Sandown 2006, and they're just dropped. They can't fix it. It's done. So you got quite a few things outside of Garth's hands that just ruined his championship. He might have got done for blocking at Phillip Island. Not sure though. People acted like there was so much toxicity and stuff going on, and maybe there was, but I think because it's been such a long time, it's going to be so hard to say whether something was right or wrong. But yeah, this isn't so much slamming Rick Kelly and saying that he was no good. It's just that he wasn't as good as Garth Tander. Garth, um, so yeah, that's that. I haven't gone through 2007 much, but yeah, that's what we got going on there. We've got a few other things to cover. So Jackson Walls has been signed to be the driver for the SCT car. So and there's a bit of controversy around it. People saying, "Oh, Jackson Walls isn't good enough to be in that seat." And we talked about it. Me and the usual guy who pops in, we were talking about it. I missed his Discord message and replied to him a few days later. And so there was a Speed Cafe article about it because everyone on Speed Cafe in the comments was saying, "Why have they signed Jackson Walls?" Andrew Jones came out and said, "Look, it's not about money. He hasn't come in and paid for a seat, even though his dad's a very rich man. It's not what it's about." They've had a look at Jackson Walls and they've gone, "All right, he was just not quite. Wasn't up the front all year. Then he stuck it on pole and won at Queensland. He's just balls to the wall, gone for it, and got it done." And so they're banking on that one performance to to be a sign that he's worth committing to for a full time main game season. So I want to have a look at 2025 Super 2. I want to see what they've got for Jackson Walls here in terms of his results. He is fifth in the championship. He's racked up. All right, I'm going to show this here because maybe we're just talking rubbish, 10th, 7th, 10th, 6th, 5th, 8th, 5th, 1st. Something happened to Bathurst, 12th in the DNF. Yeah, just racking up some good results. The top four in the championship are the Tickford cars. So Jackson hasn't been in a car capable of winning races all year. I don't think Ben Gomersall's been all that close. Ben Gomersall did get a third in the first round there. I was particularly impressed with him. But he hasn't been anywhere close to where he was. They've got one more round and that's it. It looks like Jackson Walls is actually improving considerably every weekend. Right, you could probably say he's scoring more points every weekend. 10th and 7th, 10th and 6th, 5th and 8th, 5th and 1st. And then something went wrong at Bathurst and just didn't work out for him. And it's a stacked field too. There's heaps of great drivers. People were expecting Zach Bates to get the call up into the SCT car. But maybe Jackson Walls is good, but we're gonna find out next year. There are plenty of other drivers who are more highly rated. Obviously, Rylan Gray, but I've said it before and I'd say it again. I don't think Rylan Gray's got the financial backing to get him into a main game seat. Otherwise, he would just be in for sure. He's young, he's talented. Every time, I mean, to get picked up by Tickford, and what maybe I don't know the details. I'm just guessing, obviously, but Rylan Gray didn't have a major sponsor until World Gym came on board, for Bathurst, I think. Was it the Bend? They came on the wild card at the Bend. I don't know if it was on at Townsville or QR, but I don't think there was a lot on Rylan Gray's car. He's had Waters whiskey since Tassie. I think they had Tickford on the car at Sydney. And so I'm not expecting Waters whiskey to be a big money sponsor. I'm expecting them to be a very low budget sponsor, but obviously Cam Waters is going through his Waters whiskey brand to sponsor Rylan Gray's car. And so until a proper major sponsor came on board. A bit of a similar situation to what happened with Michael Caruso in 2018, where they had drive.com.au until Industrial Athlete came on board at Tail and Bend. And was it Tail and Bend? I think yeah, maybe Tail and Bend. And suddenly they had bigger sponsorship on that car. So I think it's a bit odd for a guy like Rylan Gray to not have that big financial backing because he's obviously talented. Um, what else? Um, yeah, there was something I was going to say about it. And Zach Bates has been struggling all year. Where's you got Jared Hughes way down the order there, 10th, 8th. Lots of things just going wrong. Job Stewart will be in the main game next year. It's been confirmed. What else have we got? Jack LeBrock's been confirmed at MSR. I think that's about it. And I think we're just waiting on a few other things. There's no rumors on what's happening with the second MSR seat, which is interesting. You think maybe there would be something, but I'm not really seeing anything. Sort of hard to find anything, I think. Maybe no news, maybe there's nothing. Yeah. Brody Kostecki obviously crashed. There's a couple of those guys that crashed. It was just like, what the hell? Jamie Winkup's eye-catching tribute to Gary Rogers. It's Jamie Winkup 2003. Very nice looking thing. Yep. Oh, he's got the shorts on. Very good. Yeah, apparently Dick Johnson Racing printed out those stickers for the Gary Rogers thing. And Erebus, because Gary Rogers was so helpful and a good friend of Erebus Motorsports, that they put it on their banners, the windscreen banner. The fact is, he was just hopeless, not as a driver, but he just wouldn't listen. Should have been giving him a little more patience. That's not one of my virtues. Should have sat him down, pat him on the head, told him what a good boy he was, but that's not me. This is how you do it, and if you're not prepared to do that, you're gone. Next. I'm not dirty, I know. I could have kept him. I'm the one who got rid of him. He could have easily stayed. I could have been reaping those benefits, but the fact is, I mucked up. Yeah, well. Hey. What else have we got? Yeah, Jackson Wall's dad buys the Kostecki helmet. Don't know what they put on it, but yeah. Alright, what else? What else can we go through? Talked about that, yeah. I don't know if I've got any notes or anything. I'd have to check things, I think. I've got straight in no kissing as my That's my banner on my phone. Because that was so funny. Everyone thought that was hilarious. What else we got? I'm gonna check my Google Docs. This is usually where I put my notes. I don't know. Maybe I'll just end up chilling and chipping away at the Garth Tander thing. Here we go. What have we got? Oh yeah, here we go. Here we go. So this is a thing that I thought that I had this week about silly season, because we're going, oh, why didn't we get rid of why are these teams getting rid of these certain drivers? And I just had this thought, which is every team's looking for the next big thing, and if you're not quite working the magic, you're probably not going to keep your seat. So that's basically what I've written. Is I've said teams are always trying to find the next big thing, and if their driver isn't showing that potential for greatness, then the teams will roll the dice again, and that's what Brad Jones Racing does, and that's what plenty of teams do. They know that SCT got rid of Jackson Evans because they want to get those big results, and if Jackson Evans was the bee's knees and was super talented, he might have been closer to where they were expecting to be. So they're gonna have another go, and they're gonna have a big crack next year. They're gonna sign this driver that no one really gave a rat's about, and they're gonna put him in arguably the best machine in the field, and that's what they're banking on. You know, Jackson Walls is gonna have the opportunity to qualify in the top 10 every round. So that's and yeah, he's just gonna have to sink or swim. So there's that. Brad Jones obviously going to be shrinking down to 3 cars. What else have we got? Both Premier cars have been confirmed. So Jaden Ojeda and Declan Fraser have been confirmed at Premier. I don't know. This might have been already announced before, like last stream. By last stream, probably was. I think it was announced on like 13th or something. And I think there's a few approaches to this. So there's the Roland Dane methodology, and then there's the Peter Giberis methodology, where Roland Dane is probably saying, roll the dice again, all right, because the drivers sort of need to be able to carry the team, all right. And if they're not able to do that, they're probably not going to be able to win you championships when you have a bad weekend when you've got fast cars. So that's probably part of it. So they've gone, and what is it? I think then there's Peter Giberis's approach, which Pete likes to give drivers opportunities who haven't had a fair go. He's a full believer in a fair go. Richie Stanaway has had a lot of chances, and they've probably felt like he was just not going to ripen quick enough. And racing's a fast world. You can't. We saw when we were looking at the Garth Tander statistics, Garth Tander got on top of things quick. Rick Kelly took a lot longer. Garth was basically able to win the championship from 2005 onwards. Rick had to wait for it to fall on his lap. And so that's a similar difference between Jimmy Golding and Richie Stanaway. Maybe Jimmy Golding isn't this incredibly great driver, and maybe Richie isn't either. So Peter Giberis has gone, how come no one's had a go with Jaden Ojeda? Let's put him in. He's done a great job with everything he's done. Let's give him a real crack. Come and drive for my team, and if you don't perform, then you're out. And then do the same thing with Declan Fraser. Decker, you didn't have a great run your first time. You've done a great job at Brad Jones Racing with Andre Heimgartner. Come and drive for my team and prove everyone wrong. That's Peter Giberis's approach. When he signed Chris Pither and Gary Jacobson for 2022, everyone was a little bit like, oh, really? Why those guys? And so the first thing he did was he said, I want to give these guys a chance that they haven't had. You know, he gave Gary Jacobson a car that could get in the top 10 at Albert Park. And that's what he did. That car was good enough for better results, and he knew it. So he sacked Gary Jacobson and he signed Jimmy Golding, who was able to qualify better and race better. And that relationship has obviously run its course. Jimmy wants to take control of his own destiny, and fair enough to him. Chris Pither hadn't been given a fair go since his 2016 season with Super Black at Tickford, where he got a pole position and got what was it? He got a couple top tens, and so and then he driven for Team Sydney in 2020, where he's driving the slowest car in the field, doing his best. And then Pete's come in, upgraded the hell out of the cars. Chris obviously brought a big bag of cash, and I think he finished every single race in 2022, but he was nowhere near as fast as Gary Jacobson or Jimmy Golding. And so at the end of that season, they were like, well, we want another higher caliber driver, so they got Tim Slade. You've got to keep on rolling the dice, and that's what Roland Dane did at Triple A. 2003, he had Dean Canto and Paul Radisich. Dean Canto, he felt like just wasn't quite performing well enough, and they wanted someone with a bit of fire, so they got Max Wilson, who had been pretty damn good where in other teams that he'd been at. And they kept Paul Radisich, who had brought Roland to Australia and got him connected with Briggs Motorsport, and got that deal done. And Roland felt like they just weren't quite getting the results. And so we're talking to Craig Lowndes. Craig Lowndes was one of the best drivers in the field at the time. So they signed him. They're like, if you want to win races, sign Craig Lowndes because he is so ready for a fast, consistent car. And they had fast cars, and they got the consistency worked out. They gave him a car that could come second in the championship from where they were in 2004. They were nowhere in the championship. Too many reliability issues, crashes, all sorts. They just kept rolling the dice, you know. They kept changing drivers every year. Got rid of Dean Canto, put Max Wilson in. Got rid of Max Wilson and Paul Radisich. Put Craig Lowndes and Steve Ellery in. Get rid of Steve Ellery. Put Jamie Whincup in. Found them. You got to keep rolling the dice. That's the Roland Dane methodology. And obviously it worked, because if you find the right guy, it will be magic. Obviously, you got to have good machinery. And that's another whole thing. Like, does Premier actually have the engineering base to make those cars do the things they need to do? And this weekend they had the pace at Gold Coast, but they just weren't able to capitalize on it because the things just kept going wrong. I think something happened with Jimmy in the first race, something happened with Richie in today's race, but they qualified cars in the top 10, so that did the job. So that's why I don't think it's completely crazy what's going on at Premier. There is a method in the madness. The Roland Dane approach and the Petty Gibris approach. Roland says, roll the dice again. And Pete says, what about this guy? What about that guy? They haven't been given a fair shot. Give them a fair shot. So that's why we're getting Decker and Juice in 2026, a Premier. I will be at Blanchard Racing Team because that's where Jimmy Golding is gone. Because I am a former Gary Rogers guy. I want to support my Gary Rogers man, and that's Jimmy Golding. And, I'm just going to be there forever with Jimmy. I'm already trying to work out in my head what merch I want to get. Obviously, I'm going to be wearing Cool Drive Blue. We don't know if there's another sponsor. I think there's something going on because he had Puma on his shirt. Makes me think there's maybe something going on with Puma. It might just be their t-shirt supplier, um, but maybe there's something else going on. So yeah, they've it's interesting. All right. What else? What else? So yeah. Is there something else to look at? If I look at if I look at drivers and teams, things that are going on. Will Davison, I think Roland Dane would have sacked Will Davison. He probably would have maybe done a double change if you can. Get rid of Brody, get rid of. But I think Ryan Story, he knows what he's doing. I think if Will Davison doesn't fire next year, he's gone. Someone else is in next to Brody. And Grove Racing have got a similar mentality. People go, "Oh, why'd they get rid of Richie? Why'd they get rid of Lee Holdsworth?" Because they want the next big thing. That's why. And they've got it. Kai Allen's 10th. Matt Payne. Well, actually, it's different now. Kai Allen and Matt Payne are both in the finals. So, what else? Not too many teams are ruthless like that. Ugh. What I think is a bit crazy at the moment is why Dick Johnson Racing doesn't seem to have a junior program. They don't have a backup plan. They had Kai Allen, and then now they don't have Kai Allen, and they've got no one. They really that's why Erebus looks good all the time, is because they've got the next big thing waiting in their academy. You know, if Job Stewart doesn't do a good job, they put Jared Hughes in the car. If Cooper Murray gets pinched by another team, Jared Hughes goes in. You know, that's the beauty of the Erebus Academy. That's what they're doing. Brad Jones has got people in their pipeline. Tickford have got people in their pipeline. You know, if Cam leaves, they put Rylan Gray in the car. If Randall doesn't do a good enough job, and Randall has obviously done a good enough job to stay in the finals, they've got guys in the pipeline. Lockie Doughton, Ruben Goodall, Rylan Gray, and Nash Morris. They've got guys in their pipeline. I don't think Premier did with Cam McLeod. Triple Eight with their wild card program. Well, they did, but I guess it's just the super cheap program. So it's a great opportunity for a young bloke to be alongside Craig Lowndes because obviously he's got a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience. Cameron Crick. I don't think he's walking around with a big bag of cash. I think he's walking around with lots of little bags of cash. And that they had Sharon Rentals come on board for Bathurst, and the band sort of says that maybe they needed to have a bigger budget for the big rounds, a lot more running in those rounds. Do, 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 do. Not sure if I have a whole lot to say about anything else. Maybe Jack LeBrock isn't the guy. Barry Ryan brought Jack LeBrock to Erebus because he thought Jack LeBrock was doing a pretty damn good job at MSR in 23. I think his worst result was 15th. He's just so consistent that he had such a solid point score, but he wasn't getting bigger results, so he wasn't in the top 10 of the championship. And then he goes to Erebus, and then the cars aren't quite as good, and yeah, it's struggling a bit more, and he's getting involved in a little bit of biffo at times as well. No, not much biffo this weekend, which is good. Um, Cooper Murray is the Fast and the Furious. But Ding Dong battle with Aaron Cameron in the Saturday race, and yeah, ends up shredding the tire and going on the fence. Bit unfortunate, really, because he probably had pace to be further up. How did he go in that? How did he go in the race? Um, got 13th. A lot of cars moved up through the field. I think there's quite a few guys who just had issues. Percat, some sort of issue. Davison got fenced by Forward. Forward had a bunch of things go wrong. He span at the first chicane. Courtney got fenced. Richie, what's happened there? Fired into the back of Courtney, so I guess he just didn't last. I think maybe that was it. It was like 9 minutes later. Something else happened to Richie. Why have they ended up 18th with Golding as well? Must have missed something. Great podium for Andre. Did a great job driving. Matt Payne had lots of speed. Kai Allen was fast. He did a pretty nice race, really. Randall didn't actually have the pace, and you could see that when Chaz Mostert was riding his bumper. Chaz just drove a brilliant race. He didn't have the fastest car, but when he had the opportunity, he just went for it. He might have had a slightly faster car than Feeney. But Feeney was saying they had the fastest car, but they didn't have the fuel economy. They maybe should have been able to time that better and kept Feeney out in front. But you can't bank on a safety car all the time. Look at that, Aaron Cameron, top 10. Great job. And getting in the shootout too. Like Aaron Cameron is really coming on quite good now. Oh, what else? Jackson Evans qualified pretty decently. Although 16th up to 14th, and it's all right. Maybe I can update my my things. So I got that race, and we might add up all the points. I don't know. Pretty tired actually. Had a busy weekend. Lots of recording for Same Industries, my group gaming channel, and so. And then I think what was I doing last night? Editing videos. I was editing my Minecraft videos, so I've got one coming out Tuesday, one coming out next Tuesday. So I got that done. That's what I wanted to do. And then what else? I think that's about it. I got on top of my Mabini Talks channel last week. Been trying to get on top of videos and making sure I've got some videos coming out. And that's sort of why I want to work on the How Good Was series. I just need to edit the Greg Murphy one because I've got those pictures sorted. I just need to get on top of that. And it was a bit of a busy day today because I woke up. I didn't. Well, did I wake up late? I sort of woke up a bit late, and then we recorded for like 3 hours. And then as soon as that was done, because I wanted to get as much recording done as I could, so then we don't have to record so soon later because we've just had a lot of short recording sessions. We got that done. Then I had another thing that took a couple of hours, and then I watched the race and then started streaming. So Oh, I also did some gardening as well, some yard work, and that took an hour or two. So yeah, um, I might do the point scoring thing here. We'll just do that. Um, yeah, that was a great job by Mostert. He's really closed the gap to Feeney to come up to second. I'm not sure how many points he gets, but he's a lot closer now. And he'll get those bonus points when they go into Sandown, for the position in the championship. So he's going to get a real benefit out of that, not just getting those two race wins. And Feeney got locked in because he came second, and he got he had the 25 bonus points from winning the Sprint Cup. But you go into Sandown, he doesn't get bonus points. He's not going to be locked in like he was this time. He's going to be like, if he comes second in the first race at Sandown, that's not a guarantee that you're into Adelaide. And if somebody else wins, so yeah, he really needs to make sure he's in the top four, in terms of points at Sandown. But there are other people who are in a far worse situation, like Will Brown. Like Will Brown's barely scraping through. So I think we'll go through all that and see what I can get. I know I need to check qualifying performance for some of these guys, because I know Courtney qualified in the top 10, but just for some reason with these DNFs, it doesn't tell you where they started. Jackson Evans got caught out when Cooper Murray's accident. That was really unfortunate for him. But I think he qualified way down the back too. He didn't get out of the first qualifying session, I think. Ryan Wood, unfortunate failure, possibly. Golding goes from 5th to 12th. Like, can't remember what happened there. I think there might have been an issue. Lots of, and it was pretty intense racing. Like the cars were just flying over those curbs, and then everybody's just put brand new suspension in. Like makes that weekend at the Gold Coast makes Super Shock look pretty damn good. All right, so get rid of the Garth Tander stuff, and 2025 ups and downs. Okay. And I'm not going to have the point score right on that. What have I actually got done? I don't even have the results for Bathurst. Alright, so I got a little bit of work to do here. So, I don't know, I guess I've just been busy the last few weekends somehow. I don't actually feel like I've had a busy schedule or anything. I've had busier schedules. So, go to Bathurst. Alright, now... Alright. So if I'm Brody Kostecki, he was way down the order. 18th, so yeah, first and 18th. First dropped to 18th, they had like alternator issues, and then they had some other issue. Things just going wrong for him. Oh. Alright. Cam Waters. How did he go at Bathurst? Not too great. Second dropped to 12th. Matt Payne, what was it? 18th up to first. Very good. Will Brown fenced it. What's that? 12th down to 17th. Per cat. They had a DNF. So I can't remember where they qualified. I think they were in the top 10, weren't they? Alright, so we gotta find those. They're in the shootout. So we've got shootout here. We've got Friday qualifying. Okay, I need to move this over here in case someone wants to chat. Alright. I started watching a fair bit of what is it? Running on 7 cylinders. So watching a fair few of his videos. And he's got some good videos. He's got he did one about I watched the one with like the dominant cars, the ones that led the most laps. I don't know if he looked at 1995 though, because that's the one that I sort of wonder. I think Glenn Seaton led a lot of laps, but I can't remember if he covered that. I think he just did like from 2006 or something onwards. Alright. What have we got? What's here? Shootout qualifying, and for some reason I've lost the race results. What the hell have I done that for? Alright. I need to be showing things because otherwise people will get annoyed. So I'll show entire screen. Okay, back to what I was doing. Oh, that's right, Percat. So where did Percat qualify? He was in the shootout, pretty sure. 10th. 10th to DNF. Was it the engine died? Something like that? Something like that. The fire went out in that car. Ryan Wood, he was in the shootout. I reckon he was 4th. Yep. 4th. Where did he finish? Because he did finish. This is important. 19th. 4th. Dropped to 19th. And then we have a mechanical failure. Some sort of engine management or something like that. He was just bunny hopping. It was devastating. Cooper Murray, he was 4th. 4th from 6th. And we know he got tagged by Golding. Chaz Mostert had his engine died on him as well. He started 3rd, I think. 3rd to engine failure. Tommy Randall, he was in the shootout. 7th down to 11th. Don't remember if anything happened. He just wasn't fast, which isn't surprising. Randall hasn't really been that fast at Bathurst. Anton, the punching bag at Bathurst. There was a guy who was constantly bruised and battered. It was just all weekend, that car. So, and he go in the shootout 9th. 9th dropped to 20th. Can't remember what happened to that car. Something must have happened. Cameron Hill, 5th. 8th up to 5th. Great job. Jack LeBrock. Nowhere. 17th up to 14th. Oh, mate, reckons Jack LeBrock wasn't that good. Reckons Jared Hughes was better. Maybe Jared Hughes was better than other co-drivers, and Jack LeBrock wasn't better than other main drivers. David Reynolds, he was not in the shootout, but he ended up second. Actually, it'll just show 15th up to second. They were just fast in the wet. Macca Jones was 11th in qualifying. Dropped to 16th. And put into the elbow by Stanaway. Kai Allen had a lot of things go wrong in that race. Where did he start? 21st to 8th. Kai Allen got hit by Kostecki. Okay, I'll call it punted by Kostecki. And I think maybe Will Brown as well. He did not get hit by a kangaroo. We know this. Zach Bates, so 16th to 10th. James Courtney. How did he go? They had gearbox failure, I think. Did not get in the shootout. And 22nd to gearbox failure. Jackson Evans, he crashed it. Where did he start? 24th. To crash. Into. Where did he do it? McPhillamy or the Great? Into the wall at the Great. Yep. Feeney, well, we know Feeney stuck it into the fence at the elbow. So 5th, the 6th. Slow fuel rate. At first stop, compromised the rest of the race. Still end up 6th though at Bathurst after crashing the car. It's crazy. Just tells you what kind of race it was. It's one of those ones that you can bounce back from. Forward qualified 25th, finished 21st somehow. Transaxle, was it transaxle failure or transmission failure? I'll just call it mechanical failure. What about a transmission? Something like that. Yeah, I reckon it was a transmission failure. dropped from several laps down. Will Davison. Did you get it? He did crash. D'Alberto put it on the fence. Where did Will qualify? 14th. Not too bad, really. 14th to crash. D'Alberto. Excuse me. Alberto. No, you don't need. That's not how you're spelling D'Alberto. D'Alberto bounced off the inside wall of the elbow. And broke the suspension. Bye bye, D'Alberto. Rest in peace. Rolling Gray. So it's 27th. They started dead last. 27th up to 13th. Great job. Did not make the highlight reel. That was James Moffat's advice, apparently. So Richie ended up DNFing. 23rd to DNF. He crashed out, right? Yeah. So the first one was Morris Span. Who was it? Who got spun? Who'd he spin? Was it Kai Allen? Cameron Hill. I reckon he span Hill. No, it wasn't. It was McLeod. Morris span McLeod. And cropped. Has he got 5 seconds for it? Alright. Was it 5? No, I thought maybe. And then Richie punted Jones into the elbow, and then Richie crashed at the cutting. How'd you get that wrong, man? McLeod spun by Morris. What else? Aaron Cameron, he did a very good job at Bathurst. But also, especially did Zach Best, so 20th up to 9th. They did went sideways into the wall at the exit of Griffin's. Got lucky. No structural damage. Just busted wheel nuts. Whoops. Jimmy Golding. How did he go? Oh, he ended up 3rd, of course. I was thinking 13th up to 3rd. Post race 5-second penalty for tagging Murray. Cameron Creek. How'd they go? 15th. 26th to 15th. Pretty good day for them. Don't remember if there had any issues. Heimgartner. He was in the 10, right? 19th up to 7th. Don't remember anything going wrong for them. Aaron Love did not compete and will not be competing for the rest of the year. Alright, now let's go through everything again for this weekend. Well, actually, you know what? I might as well write down the point score. We don't really have a point score, do we? Nope, I haven't written down points for the band or for Bathurst. Which is what, round 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so I have covered the band. I haven't covered Bathurst in terms of the point score. Probably because it's very easy to cover that one. Round 10. Alright, how many points did Feeney get at Bathurst? 6, so 198. I need to get my calculator out so I can calculate all the points. I have actually reached out to Running on 7 Cylinders. I sent him a message on Instagram. I think it's fallen on deaf ears. Hoping to maybe do something one day, but I don't know if I'm not gonna have another go. That's my one go. If he doesn't wanna play, doesn't wanna do anything, then that's it. I did actually have a little back and forth with him on Instagram, just talking about I think it was his predictions for the finals, who was going to get knocked out. I think I asked him because he thought Mostert was going to get out, and I'm like, why do you think that? And he said it's because he thought there'd be a mechanical failure. Well, luckily for Mostert, not on his car. It's 198 for Feeney. Bro does not engage with comments. I mean, yes. Well, the comments he engaged on Instagram. He did. I got we replied there, but not direct messages. So that's a him problem, honestly. That he's not doing YouTube right. He's obviously doing it quite well in other areas. Only has like 10 to 20 views, not interacting. As in, like on YouTube comments. I don't think I posted anything on a YouTube comment. Maybe I did. On one of his videos. I think I watched like 5 of them. But yeah, it's like, what are you doing? How does he expect to grow exactly? Like I used to get heaps of comments. When I was getting thousands of views, You commented in deaf ears. Yeah, I saw you put a comment on one of his videos and he didn't really reply to that. And I thought, like, come on, dude. Like, why are you here? And some people just don't want to do. I don't know what they're hoping to do. Like, go and write a newspaper. Go and do something where it's not based on engagement. Might as well do, yeah, newspaper or writing a book or something like that. R- Doing social media without having the social bit is pointless. So yeah, he's not doing that right. Um, yeah, I don't know what it is, but yeah, that's a shame. So 198 plus 2130, and then they reset the points to 4,000, right? For after Gold Coast. So then you add the bonus points for where everyone is. So Chaz gets a huge benefit for Sandown because all he has to do is beat Brock, but everyone kind of starts from a difficult position. So they get like a little tiny leg up, but it looks like it doesn't make a huge difference. So it's going to be interesting for sure. When is it? When is Sandown? 14th of November. So 2 weeks away? No, 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks away. Just good. I like a little break. I know some people don't, but I like to just digest things that have happened. If we just had like non-stop racing, it would just be, I don't know, it'd be pretty crazy. Wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. Formula One are doing new rounds every weekend, doing lots of double headers, lots of occasional triple header. So it can be. I think it's a good thing. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying I don't mind. I don't mind a break. Like the momentum of constant racing. Yeah. Um. And I think the the back end to the supercar season, especially when we go Bathurst and then like 2 weeks later it's Gold Coast. It's good to have that because then you get it's like we're running down the hill towards the end of the championship, and you go, "Oh my god, how was that? How good was that?" That's good. So yeah, 3 week break to Sandown is sort of like, do we actually need to do that? But there's going to be some damaged cars, I think, that need to have another run over. DJR are probably going to strip down Kostecki's car. Right now, we've got so much clout on social media. Oh, what do you mean? It's all going to disappear in the 3 weeks. Yeah, yeah. Obviously, like we had a huge Bathurst where lots of people watched. We've just had a great race at great round at the Gold Coast, and now we're gonna have 3 weeks off, and people are gonna forget. Yeah, yeah, I get that. 18 days till Sandown. On Twitter, Big Bathurst and Big Crested. Oh, Big Creators were sharing it. Yeah, I heard there were some people that like big famous people were sharing it, and they were like football people, and they wanted to talk about Bathurst. So yeah, that's good. Um, I can't say I noticed it in my personal life that like people didn't really. Actually, I did actually have quite a few people watching Bathurst, but I don't know if they normally did. This week, the chicanes cars all going 4 off the deck was so cool to see, even more momentum. Yeah, Gold Coast is great for supercars. Bathurst is when Bathurst is good, it's great. Um, so yeah, I think just in terms of having great racing is is really good. I don't know if Sandown will be a procession. I don't know. I think Sandown brings pretty good racing. There's passing, there's errors, there's I think plenty will go on. We see plenty of great racing at Sandown. Um, over the years we've seen people going off at the bottom of the hill. People going off at turn one. Um, people crashing into the pits at the pit entrance. What was it last year? Was it Kai Allen and there was like that big incident with a couple of the young blokes crashing into one another. I think I think it'll be good. I don't know if it'd be the best stuff ever. So I think Sandown's a great track to watch racing. Probably better than its full timers now. But because it's not an enduro, it'll be a procession. You can't remember good racing since it's been Gen 3. Really? Like last year, Will Brown versus Brock Feeney was pretty good. But that's obviously the Sandown 500. But no, I think Sandown's always been good. Even if we were just talking Gen 3, they had 2023 was when we saw Richie Stanaway carving through the back. Jackson Evans picking up a heap of spots through the back for a casual. Yeah, if you like the sport's good to watch. Yeah, well, you know what I say when I go to Taylor Bend is I say this is a racetrack. Everyone here is here to watch racing, right? It's not going to be a festival. It's not going to be a big fireworks show. It's not going to be sensational, right? This is going to be real racing, right? If the track is good and people are banging into one another, cars won't be out of position like an enduro. Cars are always out of position. There's always someone who shouldn't be qualifying down the back, but they end up doing. There is actually one car on the grid that is always out of position. Car number 1. It's spent most of the season out of position. Because its average qualifying position is 15th. People should just watch to watch Will Brown carve his way through the field. Although it's a shame he doesn't have his star co-driver to be able to pick off spots. But he did a pretty great job at Gold Coast this weekend, just watching him picking off all these different people to get through. That was pretty great. Anyway, so 23-20. Will Brown. Where is he? I don't actually need to do that. This weekend he has a damn shocker. Yeah, there were Brody and Will Brown loved scraping the wall. Like, just couldn't get a lap done, poor Will. Curb strikes, spinning out. Brody crashed the car and then he crashed it again. I showed one of my mates who does not know anything about car racing. I showed him the Brody Kostecki crash. And he's like, wait, no, that's tape. It's he didn't know what was going on, but he saw the crash and it was like, that was just nuts. Will Brown is only in the finals because he finished 3rd overall. Yeah. Yeah, he definitely had an advantage going into Gold Coast, by being higher up in the championship. So he had those bonus points. Going into Sandown, though, he'll be lucky if he gets through, if he continues this performance, because you can't just keep on coming seventh. Like, that's not good enough. You need to be coming. You need to come fourth. If the top four are all fourth, they gotta be in there. On their podcast, I talk about how it can go wrong so easy. But it was them. Yeah. Yeah, that was funny. This week's pod's gonna be great. I can't wait. They're gonna be sitting there so red-faced, like, we crashed and we made our weekend so hard. Like, Brody crashed and basically meant that he had to win today's race. And I was like, and then they pitted on lap, and then Brody pitted on lap 6, and I thought, you're banking on having a repeat of Saturday. And you're seeing Will Brown basically doing the exact same thing that he did on Saturday, and I thought, how are you screwing up this badly? Oh. And what was he saying? Oh, you just gotta go straight and bounce off the curbs. And I thought, who is driving like that? Who is just going straight and bouncing off the curbs? You watch like James Courtney. He's driving like Glenn Seaton. He's just doing like little micro adjustments. Bounce off the curb, bounce off the curb, bounce off the curb, you're through. You know, even Chaz Moster was riding the curbs, launching the car off the curbs. He was aiming for him. Will Brown's just like screws it up immediately, and I was like, "What?" Uh, I just uh, you know, what was I talking about? Locking into the corner. Yeah, tank slapper was crazy. Yeah. Um, what else? I gotta keep doing what I'm doing. How he didn't end his weekend there. Yeah. Like Will Davison, actually, I felt so sorry for today because I haven't actually seen his crash, but he got punted by Bryce Forward, who I guess just wasn't looking where he was going. It just rammed him into the fence, and so he's dropped down the order, and then he's had more mechanical issues, so he's had to come into the pits a second time and fix it up, and it's just day done immediately. And I guess Bryce wasn't that fast, and so then so he's got his 15-second penalty. Well, it wasn't even that. It was like a pit lane penalty. He spun him. Yeah. Yeah, I actually haven't seen it. Um, but yeah, I've just seen like little bits of it. Like I saw Will in the fence, and I heard that Bryce did it, and it was on lap 1, so I thought, "Oh, okay, I know what lap 1's like." He's just sort of like wrong, just sort of bonked into him. Oh God, Will Brown. Will Brown ended up, what was it, 18th? 17th. 79 plus whatever he's got now. 1960. Lap 2, wasn't it? Oh, I thought I thought it was lap 1. That's what I heard. That's what I heard on the TV. It might have been lap 2. I don't know. 9. It wasn't off the start. Okay. All right. Yeah. Like I said, I haven't actually seen the proper replay, so I thought that everyone was going like side by side through it, and something silly happened. But yeah, I guess guess Bryce has just done something stupid and put him in the fence. which is really unfortunate because you want Bryce to do well, and he's just it's yeah, not good enough. And Chaz had a DNF, so he gets 0 fucking points. Is that right? Did he get 0 points? I think he does. DNFs, he gets 0 points, yeah. Alright. Ryan Wood does not have a DNF. He scored some points. 19th, 67 points. That's a good number of points. Some people's best weekends were worse than that. 67 points plus 1272. 39. Waters. 120. 1944. Randall. 130. Randall did surprisingly well. I reckon he saved his weekend by qualifying better. You can't write him off. I probably wouldn't expect him to do too well at Sandown, but Gold Coast, he was going to be a chance of being up the front, getting some top tens. Waters, I probably expected more from, but they just didn't seem to have it. He was in the mix though. And Matt Payne, he really wanted to get on the podium, and Andre wanted it more, and that was great to see. Matt Payne. Oh, hang on, he gets the 300, right? 300 for winning Bathurst. 1972. Carl Allen. I like how the Fords bookend it. Penrite cars just bookending. Tradie car, Premier, Erebus, MSR, 888, BJR. It's funny. 167. 137 plus 1135. 1302. Plus 73 points for Brody. 1649. Will Davison. Oh, I got 0 points. Because TD stuck it in the fence. Anton. 62 plus. I was thinking about it this weekend watching Jack Perkins interviewing, I think it was Jackson Evans. And I thought, he reminds me a lot of, if you watch like 2006, 7, Grant Denyer interviewing people. He just has like this very personable, sort of enjoyable chats with people. He said something like, "Chin up, mate." That was something that Grant Denyer said. I think it was 2006. I'm not sure. And Jack Perkins puts the microphone to Jackson Evans and says, "Mate, if you didn't have bad luck, you'd have no luck at all." And I thought that is so true. Jackson Evans is just in the wrong place at the wrong time constantly. And the only way to get out of trouble is by qualifying way further up. It's just, I was thinking, if they're gonna do a shake up for commentary, keep Jack Perkins. He definitely needs to stay in the lane because he's good to listen to. Um, having Jack Perkins and James Moffat on the V8 Sleuth show, whatever they call it, the undercut. That's great. They had a 1 hour show breaking it down, talking about stuff. And then they had what was it? Just good to listen to. And V8 Sleuth got their magazine coming out, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, I really want to get it because I just think there's going to be so many great stories in there to read. Just reading about the green-eyed monster, you go, yeah, this would be great. And I think there was other stuff. There was like the Ford Laser, which they did actually do a bit in the show. And you do wonder where they've got the website and they've got this magazine they're doing, and they've got this the show, and then they've got their podcasts. Is there going to be some overlap? Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I haven't actually listened to the podcast because they've got the undercut show, so I just have that on because it goes for like 45 minutes. And so I'll just listen to that. I think the podcast, they sort of break down their stories, but they also like to go back to like talking about historic Australian touring car racing and talking about all these interesting stories. So, and they did that talking about QR. They did a really good one there. But they do so much stuff at V8 Sleuth. You do wonder if they're really pushing too hard, but they seem to be going onwards and upwards. Alright. Anton Lucas Crowley. He did get points. 62 plus whatever he got. 1308. 1370. David Reynolds. I'll probably call it a stream when we get to like 11 o'clock or something, because then I might finish doing this and then I'm gonna probably start work on a supercars video, because I want to get the freaking Greg Murphy one done. So I want to have a crack at that. I got to make a bunch of pictures. I got to do a bunch of stuff. I can't really do it on live stream because I have to do it on a completely different computer. So it's a complicated mess. Dave Reynolds, 861. Oh, and he got seconds. We got a bunch of points. 276. 276 plus. Which is 12 minutes. 12 more. In 12 minutes, I'm gonna stop the stream. 276 plus. Was that 861? 1137. Jimmy Golding came third. He got a bag of points. 254 plus 903. 1187. Richie. DNF 760. God, DNFs at the Enduros are brutal. Kind of hard to get a DNF at the Bend, but I reckon some people did. Who did? Did anyone get one? I think anyone had a mechanical issue at the Bend. Some people had like issues, but they didn't fail to finish. But yeah, Bathurst is more likely to happen there. It's a good thing about the Bend. It's hard to have a DNF. unless you have an actual mechanical failure. Andre Heimgartner. I got 182 points. 1117. 1299. Bryce. 57 points. Plus 943. Perfect 1000. Very nice, Bryce. Very nice. 736. Oh, Jesus. What am I doing there? Plus. Not a very good time for Micah Jones. 86. He was on for a good result. He did such a great job. Him and Jordan Boys did such a great job at Bathurst. You know, we have such low expectations of them. And when they impress, they really do. Because Jordan Boys was racing. He did such a great job. You know, their car was fast enough to race against other people. Chaz block in the end. I think it was okay. I think it was fine. I would have been disappointed if he didn't. You do wonder, especially at a straight track where maybe Feeney could have bumped him. That probably wouldn't have been too bad. But you do wonder with maybe with the racing rules if that impacts the way like Feeney doesn't really want to bump and run. Type of blocking as well. Yeah. I think that okay. I think it should be two ways. I think it should work both ways. If you block and they hit you, that shouldn't be a penalty. You shouldn't get penalized for covering your position and getting hit by the guy behind you. Feeney moved, Mostert moved, and keeps moving. Courtney did that to De Pasquale apparently. Anton was saying that that's what happened with JC. Anton was putting the move on, but I think Anton just didn't have the speed. Feeney had the speed. Feeney could have got Mostert if Mostert left the door open. Because Feeney had the speed to get the move done. Anton was too slow. He was behind him, but he basically had the exact same speed as Courtney. He had like 8 laps to go, so he didn't really have to do the move. Feeney, it was the last lap. It was do or die. So much room on the inside and just outbroke himself. I think did maybe both of them lock up? Because it definitely looks like Anton sort of screwed it up. But I thought I saw Courtney locking up a little bit as well. Feeney was literally hitting the inside wall. Yeah. Yeah, Feeney, he was trying not to, and Chaz was just closing the door, and so Feeney's just scraped the wall. Yeah, Feeney did a brilliant job. I think if Feeney hit Chaz, I don't think it should have been a penalty. Not like he would have got past him anyway. Just a tag. He's winning the championship. If he comes second in both races at Sandown, he's not winning the championship. He'll be second in the championship. Been too good this year. But you can still lose it, right? You can still have an issue, just a little issue. Let's say he beaches it. Let's say he's lapping a back marker or something, and they lock up and crash into him. Stuff like that can happen, and that could ruin his championship. It could happen so easily. It's elite at Sandown and Adelaide. He got a podium at Sandown in 22. He got a win at Adelaide 22. 23. He not win it. Got a podium at Sand. Wait. Why, if he finished second, would he not win it? Well, if he finishes second at Sandown in both races, and let's say Chaz wins both races, obviously he makes it through to Adelaide. But if Chaz wins both or all three races at Adelaide and Feeney comes second in all three races, then Chaz wins the championship. That's what I mean. Like, you have to beat your opposition to win the championship, because they keep resetting the points, so you don't get a buffer. Feeney had a buffer this time, so he was locked in because he had the 25-point bonus. He's not. The buffer doesn't really do a whole lot, it seems. I wanted to calculate the numbers myself and think about the different possibilities, but I didn't get around to doing it. So, but yeah, he just has to beat his opposition. There's a little buffer, and it helps. 2 seconds is enough. Two second places to win the championship because of how good he is at Adelaide. Yeah, well, and also, Gold Coast is his bogey track too. Yeah, but wasn't he fast last year? Wasn't he? Was he? 2024. 2 seconds last year. Yeah. No, 2/3. Fourth up to third, fifth up to third. I yeah, I've literally got the information right here. Yeah, I think Will Brown came second in one of the races at Gold Coast. Yeah, 11th up to 7th, second stayed second. Yeah, Buffini was obviously the man to beat at Adelaide, and he just screwed it up. He's not great at Gold Coast, no. But he's building up a bit of a record there now. His first 2 years, he wasn't great. Sandown is really good. He does have a record of racking up big results. So got a podium 22, got a win with Jamie Whincup 23. 24, was he on the podium? Second, it was a Red Bull 1-2, right? I think he came second. Did he come second? Yeah. Yeah, because Whincup. Hang on, I might be confusing 23 and 24. I think 23 Whincup just put in this incredible first stint, right? And that's kind of why they won the 500 that year. But yeah, he's very good at Sandown. He's a very good driver in general. Like, he's at the top of his game. Sometimes he screws it up, but I think everybody screws it up sometimes. Well, they'll just make a mistake. Chaz is good at both too. Is he good at Chaz? Good at Sandown? When's Chaz good at Sandown? You get top 10s. This year he hasn't made mistakes, only Bathurst. I think Chaz screwed up at Bathurst. He just had the engine failure. Are we talking about Chaz or are we talking about Feeney? Yeah. That's what I thought. Yeah, Brock screwed up at Bathurst, but yeah, I think it was. They said that he needed to warm up his tires, and it was obviously going to take a few laps because it was wet, and you're on cold, wet tires, so you need to just take a few laps, get the tyres up to temp, and then you'll be able to start going as fast as the front runners. It was probably not going to take one lap to get him up to temp. But yeah, that was a screw up, and quite a few. I think was it 70%? Was that a Supercars article? Something like 74% or something like that. It was like 74% of the mistakes made by drivers were made by main drivers. So, and that was very unusual. That there were a couple of co-drivers that screwed up, like Nash Morris bumping into Cam McLeod. But not too many co-drivers really screwing things up. And Tony D'Alberto crashed out. Main drivers basically only got wet driving. Yeah, so obviously that's not going to be helpful. Co-drivers were mostly in the dry. Yeah, and even in the dry, co-drivers were very impressive. I think some of the mistakes that co-drivers made, like the Nash Morris on Cam McLeod, that one was in the dry. And the Tony D'Alberto one was in the dry as well. But yeah, in general, it was mostly main drivers screwing up, and they were mostly in the wet. And co-drivers mostly in the dry, definitely. D'Alberto washed. Yep. I wouldn't keep him next year. I'd say bye-bye. Thanks, Tony. Bye-bye. Nash didn't even deserve that seat. Yeah, we know why he got it. We know. Sometimes the wrong people get the seat. Nathan Hearn was the one who's been hanging around for too long. He just has not been given a chance. I thought Peter Gibris was the guy who gave people chances, and Nathan Hearn's been sticking around for too long. I feel sorry for that guy. It's a bit like but still. I mean, Nash wasn't terrible. You think Brock wins it all? I hope Brock wins it all. Because he's done such a great job this year, it would be a shame to see him lose it. I think he'll be solid at Sandown for sure. I think Nash is terrible. Yeah. I think Nash wasn't as bad as I might have been hoping. Definition of a wobbler. Well, because he had an issue in both races that he did. Maybe he's like Cooper Murray. He's like magnet for chaos. Just like goes into one race, bangs into Jack Smith, has an issue, goes to the next race, turns around Cam McLeod. He's been racing for years. Oh, as a racing driver, he's been around for years. Yeah, he has been switching it on Super 2 though. People treat him as a green 18-year-old rookie. Everybody's been racing for years. Actually, you know what I saw? I saw a YouTube video of I think it was in supercars. But this is his first enduro though. He did Super 3 in 2022. I think he did one season Super 2 23, had a year off, came back to Tickford, and he's done a very good job. But yeah, he's not he's experienced enough that he should be doing a good job. Super 2 has been since 2022 days, yeah. And he was shocking. When he was in his first season in Super 2, he had that big crash at Perth. Super 3, whichever. Yeah. He's shit now still. Yeah, I'll have to there's 4 cars you can compete with basically, and you're last. Is he? Hang on. Even one of them DNF'd. Hang on. 2025 Super 2. He's all right. Yeah, Ruben Goodall is actually doing a better job. He's had more podiums there. Nash got a win. Whereas obviously Lockie Doughton and Rylan Gray are the best guys they've got. Rylan Gray is just really talented coming through. Lockie Doughton's been around long enough in good machinery. He should be doing a good job. Ruben Goodall's actually been pretty impressive. I don't know what happened at Queensland. He might have got biffed out or something like that, but Ruben Goodall, I've been pretty impressed with him. But yeah, maybe like these are kids. Yeah. Cooking Nash, yeah. How old is Nash? He's 20 he's 22. Lockie Doughton, I think Lockie Doughton's might be a bit older. He's 23. Ruben Goodall, 21. It's just Rylan, who's young. He's like 18. Yeah. Yeah, so Ryland's 18, Lockie is 23, Nash is 22, Ruben 21. Um, yeah. But like, how do you come seventh? You're in a car that should be in the top four every race, right? So the others are getting supercars chances. Yeah. Maybe he just needs to be more impressive or something. He had to do a time trial at Winton to get his seat. Yeah. That's how little faith they had in him. Wait, who are you saying? Like Nash Morris had to do the time trial? This weekend is exactly why Stanaway is being dropped for next year. Oh yeah, yeah. Stanaway. He should have backed out earlier heading into the beach chicane, and he did not need to push that hard against Brody. Yeah, that was insane. I was looking at it like, did Brody do something wrong? And then I saw like Stanaway backing out at the very last minute. That was risky as hell. And the shootout, what did he do in the shootout? I missed it. Straight line turn one. Oh really? Lock the rears. Oh, going in too hot, I guess. Yeah, Nash. Um, like when they went to that, he just trundled around. Well, obviously, oh, like a depressed little puppy. Like instead of just like, oh, I screwed up, burn around into the pit lane. Yeah, I screwed up. Oh, but so he went slow for his lap because you got to finish your lap. Then someone else curb up. Yeah, they finished the lap. Damn, that's a free spot. Well, I don't. I think the rules, even because once you've had a strike, it just counts as zero. Um, you don't. I don't think that made the difference. I think it just looked. It just made him look bad, and so like yeah, it's not very sportsmanly to um to get the shits on. Little things like that. Just use your brain. Yeah. I think when others have a strike. It's whoever has the fastest time. Is it? Okay. Because I thought it just counts as 0, so I'm not sure. Um, well, let's have a look. It's not really. It's just gonna say 0, isn't it? That's why they always tell him to finish the lap. Yeah. I thought they do it because they have to, because of the rules or something. We look at, because if it's just 0, you just come to the pits. Yeah, so Richie and Payne are just striked out for it instead of cooking your tires for another lap. Yeah, I thought they just have to. They still have to officially set a time or something. And also, do they get to use the shootout tires for the race if they wanted to? I think they, I think they do. Yeah, yeah. I think that's just reasonable. Yeah. So because he trundled around, Matt Payne got him, and Matt Payne got a curb strike. Yeah, like it's not his fault, but what's what's not his fault? What's not whose fault? Like Matt Payne, we're having a bad footing game, getting cooked. Yeah, you always chase even though if you don't have a chance. It's just good sportsmanship to just do it properly, right? If you go around like a wet dog and just make everyone go, because you never know what can happen. Yeah. Um, yeah, well, that's it. I think, like Ryan Wood at Tail and Bend, right? Imagine everyone curb strike. Now what? Yeah. Ryan Wood at Tail and Bend's a good example because Chaz got a penalty, right? So, and Ryan got a strike because he went off. Was he the? I think it was he the only one that went off in the shootout at the Bend? And then he got moved up a position but maybe it's not the same because it's a certain number of spots for the penalty, so it's not quite the same. I don't know. Hmm, something to think about. Um, someone else could have made a mistake. Yeah. And at the bend, it was on the edge, and in shootouts in general, people make mistakes. I'm trying to think. 2018 Gold Coast gets a free spot by just getting back into it. Yeah. But if it was like that, wouldn't they just get back on the road and go ham? But they don't. They just finish the lap and they run it at they go around at like 80%. Can't remember how much time Woody dropped when he went off though, because he did actually complete his lap. It just didn't count. Don't expect someone else to make the same mistake after them. Yeah, well, it can happen though. People lock up, people go off. Hmm. You watch a Red Bull make a mistake, yeah. Then anyone, you'd see them finish the lap. Yeah, they don't play about their processes. Yeah, I think Richie's just doesn't give a crap anymore, and it really showed. And the lucky dogs they were talking about having Richie on, and I was and so after that I'm like, oh, that'd make a good episode. If they have Richie on, the extra brain capacity. Yeah, not like a Kai Allen where Kai's turned Randall and he's gone. I'm just gonna sit here, let him go. He's tapped out driving the car. Yeah, and with the brain capacity, he's not like SVG where he's like SVG. He's cooking. He's already thinking about the extra shit. Makes no sense how he was so damn good in single seaters. Maybe like some people are just good at single seaters. I think. Um, some people are really good in the junior categories. Almost made it to F1. Come back to supercars, and he just looks shocking. Yeah, except he wasn't that good at in the junior single seaters. He won a race in F2. And then he had some other results that were pretty good as well. Actually, um, can't even say it's the equipment now too, because it's Triple Eight built cars. You gonna try that one? Hang on, where am I looking? My Richie Stanaway presentation. No, Tick the Cow's dog shit in 2018. Yeah. I need to move this so I can see you. Whoop. GRM was cooked in 2019. Yes. Okay. Good car in 22. Yeah, the Erebus car. Good car 23, obviously. Great car 23. And a really good car in 24 as well. They had a bit of a crummy middle of the season, but they were pretty good at the start of the season, and they're pretty damn good in the late season. Even Richie wasn't too bad. I don't think he choked. I think he just wasn't quite as good. Rumors they were giving him the shit bits. Nah, I don't think they gave him like what we saw in 24 was that Richie was actually he was pretty good and they were giving him the best chance they could possibly give him. They weren't planning on keeping him anyway. But they just didn't have they weren't going to be a triple eight, but they were inconsistent speed. Okay. He's just randomly fast. Yeah, he couldn't can't back it up the next day. 2024 ups and downs. Blech. Do, 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 do. How many rains aces have there been? And we all like Richie's going to cook, and he never does. Yeah. How many wet races were there last year? I don't think there were any in 24, were they? Don't think so. Um, got sold a dream. Yeah, there was a fair bit of hype behind him in 2018. I thought the sign in 2018 though was when we knew they'd signed him, but they didn't announce him because they couldn't lock down a sponsor. And I thought, he's the Sandown 500 winner. Why can't they lock down a sponsor? And that was probably a sign because if he was like a great personality and a great and a great racing driver, people would have been stickering that car up, right? Instead of Tickford having to fund the car and then they put a little bit of mega on the car and they get Rabble.club on the car. Like, and he was arguably, he was the more hyped driver going into the 2018 season. And yet Anton De Pasquale gets more sponsors. And Todd Hazelwood, well, Todd Hazelwood obviously had to do the work. He was going to work hard. Um, but who else he got? Jack LeBrock um, had sponsors on his car, but also Techno. 2018 car was so dog shit though. Yeah, the 2018 car was difficult. Most of them struggled with it. I don't think it was the car though. I think it was more parity. I think the ZBs were just that good, and there were only two FGX drivers that year that were actually able to challenge for good results, and that was Chaz and Scotty. Everybody else was struggling, but even Chaz was frustrated, and Scotty was frustrated too because they felt like they had to do huge amounts to make the car be good. And obviously, with Richie, he was going to be the fourth car in the pecking order. So his engineer was Sam Potter, who was not very experienced. It was his second year as a race engineer. But then, you know, but also, yeah, I think Richie was. I don't think the ZB was that much better. Um, yeah, it's difficult to say. Like the Mustang, you think the Mustang was way better? So you said so the ZB versus the FGX wasn't wasn't that much better, but the Mustang versus the ZB was way better. Yeah, we'd have to find some like clips or something to really see that. Because I was watching the race today, and thinking about straight line speed. Brock Feeney was so much faster than Chaz on the exits. Watching Holdsworth in the top fives, he only had like a couple of top fives. He wasn't having that great a time. He and once they clipped the rear wing at Perth, beating SVG, and SVG is doing a flawless race at Perth. Really, is that Perth? Because he had back-to-back ones. He had Perth and Winton. Um, 2019. Because the thing that I noticed the most was that Mustangs were on the podium in pretty much every single race. To see but my argument at the time was, look, you've got two Ford teams that also just happen to be the two of the best teams in the category, right? They were good in 2017, 2018, and now they've got a good car. Now they're good. They're still good. So, but yeah, you're saying Holdsworth. He got a fifth at Winton. That's where he got. Holdsworth was not doing that well. He, I expected him to do a lot better in the Tickford Mustang because his teammates were doing so much better than him. So look at Scotty Mac. He's Scott McLaughlin, right? He's just ridiculously good. Yeah, yeah, you want to say that? Well, let's have a look at 2021 Shane Van Gisbergen, and we'll scream parody then, won't we? Let's hang on. How do I do this? Because that's what it'll be like, right? Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's not that obvious. Yeah, so here's VG there. Alright. I don't know. I'm running out of brain power tonight, so I'm gonna wrap this up. It's not the domination that's the problem. Well, what is it? Because Scott McLaughlin was already really good. Right, we can look at 2018, and he was still putting together a really strong season. So give him a car with parity, he'll be up there still. If he finishes the races first. Alright. Those two instead it was Fabian, so we'll just see the spread in results. In terms of spread in terms of what? How many people won races? 2019, it's only him winning in the Mustang. Chaz and Fabian. So Chaz got one, Fabian got two, and then Triple Eight got the other ones. But it's mostly Scotty. Chaz got one because because Chaz was coming second all weekend. And I think I've got in my PowerPoint presentation on most consistent drivers, that DNS meant that Scotty didn't get the most consecutive top tens of the year. Shane Van Gisbergen did because of this stretch here. SVG cooking. Just kept on grabbing top results. But SVG, it's not like SVG wasn't great at qualifying either. It was actually Jamie who was doing a way better job in that regard in 2019. So, maybe something to come back to. Jamie was slow in 2019. All right, let me get out the stuff. Triple Eight car just looked shit. All right, I'm gonna get the book out. You're gonna see. And from Bathurst it came alive. Yeah, we say that. Hang on, here we go. 2019. So here's Whincup, right? He's qualifying top 10 pretty regularly. He's out qualifying SVG a bit more often. It didn't come alive from Bathurst. They just clipped the Mustang that hard because Triple Eight kept on whinging. And so they got what they wanted. And then they were top 4 again in every single race. But they were still qualifying right at the front. It would have been more suspicious if they were dropping positions every single race, but they weren't really. You got, let's think of a good example of a certain track. You're talking about, like even Perth, like Whincups, third down to fourth, second stage second. I think the first race, Chaz's engine died. I just think when you see the best team getting beat by other teams that aren't as good as them, it gets sus. Getting beat by DJR or Tickford, 2020 makes sense. Yeah, Scotty is better than them. Yeah, Scotty was just an incredible driver, so he wins. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. But I think also in 2019, weren't Erebus beating Triple Eight? They were, I think, no, Erebus. Erebus said they were beating Triple Eight, but I don't think they really were. Super consistently beating Triple Eight in that era. I'm like, something's not right. Yeah. But I think they were also having other issues. I think Triple Eight were having other issues. SVG wasn't always doing an amazing job. Obviously the Mustang was just incredible at the Grand Prix, so they were struggling a little bit there. In races, they were often the fastest Holden. Yeah, you got third down to fourth, 6 up to second, Thursday third. That's why they said they're beating Triple Eight. Oh, Erebus were the fastest Holdens. Yeah, right. They might have been the fastest, but I don't think they were racking up the results. Spring change. Yeah, the linear spring dampers. That Gary Rogers had actually never run linear spring dampers until 2019, so that nerfed Triple Eight so bad. You reckon? They were still running up the front at Adelaide though. Like race 1, they're still up the front. But maybe because everyone else is shit. Yeah. Maybe worth a deep dive at some stage. I think that'd be good. To get right into it and really see if there's some real evidence. Triple Eight usually dominates at Adelaide. They usually have a car. They usually have fast cars at Adelaide, and that's probably the definition of dominate, because it means that something has to happen to stop you winning. Like last year, they dominated. Brock Feeney won the first one. Will Brown won the second one. The only driver I see beating them is Scotty. Yeah, and Scotty was beating them 2017 through to not to through to 20. Scotty was beating them constantly. He was out qualifying them, and once he got his starts right, he was out racing them as well. And that's, SVG got pretty dirty. When he beats them, I'm like, okay, yeah. I remember in 2020, Like, it was like 15-second lead in a 200k race. Bro, this car is OP. Yeah. Uh, yeah, 15-second lead. Yeah, what was it? Townsville 2018. They took it in turns, destroying everyone. You know, Win Cup was like 22 seconds up the road on SVG, and the next day SVG does the exact same thing. And then there's Scotty, starts third, finishes third. This is as good as this car can be. But DJR Team Penske weren't a Triple Eight, so um, and it's sort of hard to like. Scotty was really good. The team around him was really good, but they weren't. You think they were better? No, McLaughlin was better. Fabian Coulthard was not at the same level as either SVG or WinCup on the day. Like, they didn't have like the two car team. Basically, they had one guy who was really, really insanely good, and the other guy who was good enough to score top tens. That's the year he crashed with Reynolds. 2019, what, McLaughlin and Reynolds. Yeah, yeah, in the wet. Um, the wet race. Yeah, so that's the second race. Yeah, Wink Up apparently crashed in that one. That was a weird one, I think. Yeah. So yeah, SVG got the win, but it's SVG in the wet at Townsville. The washed allegations started. Oh, really? That's not fair. That's not fair. No, Wink Up was still really good. He was still like Wink Up showed that he was still really good in 2020. Kind of was the beginning of the end. Yeah, look, I wouldn't say that Wink Up was at like I don't have Wink Up data. Like 2014 going off the top of my head, or like 2011 where he's just demolishing everyone. It was like he's elite, but the mistakes were creeping in. It was going to happen eventually, right? When you've been destroying everyone for years, eventually someone is going to have to start beating you. Like, like Chaz getting out qualified by Ryan Wood all the time. Like to see Chaz have a great weekend like this, it doesn't happen all the time. Woody was on pole yesterday, so you know, eventually they lose that edge. I think. Chaz really said, watch this." Yeah, yeah. Uh, yeah. I mean, yeah. Just watching Chaz. Just who's not the fastest walking shot driver. Yes. Watching Chaz at the top of his game is incredible. Still think would win Saturday though. Oh, we were robbed. We were robbed on Saturday. I would love to have seen to see Woody go for that win because he deserves it. He's so good. Too many damn times this year. Oh my god, yeah. Just mechanical gremlins costing Woody a bigger result. He should be in the finals, but he's not because the team keeps on dropping the ball. Like, what were they talking about? They were like, "Oh, how great it is that the team have actually like fixed the car." And I'm thinking, yeah, but why'd the car break down in the first place? Bathurst in second, yeah. Uh, I think 3 times this year So he had Perth where he was on in pole and there was a suspension failure. Is that what you mean? I think you said Bathurst in second. Yeah. All right. So yeah, twice. How good is it is to explain why they fucked up. Yeah. Oh, I wonder what Ryan Walkinshaw was thinking when it was like, oh my god, guys, again. Like Ryan would have been like pissed off, surely. Only reason he's not in the finals is them. Yeah. You do wonder. And it's the same as like the DJR crew. It's like, oh, thanks guys. They really worked so hard and they brought the car back from the brink after Brody fenced it. But also so many times the car is just broken down for some reason, or they didn't put a wheel on properly. It's just like sometimes you gotta say the team just did not get it right, and they really need to pull their finger out. Uh, yeah. Ryan Wood, he had pace, and he was saying it too, and he was devastated as well. Never ever said in supercars. Yeah, never seen the team get blamed. No, why? Because you get in trouble. They would have to have like an intern. If it was at Triple Eight though, somebody or at Erebus, like somebody is getting in trouble. Someone is getting their ass handed to them. Yeah, they take accountability. Yeah. Um, Although they say we didn't do a good enough job for 6 and such. Yeah. Yeah. I'll do a good enough job for such and such. Yeah. Yeah. But even when the drivers fuck up, they say that they maximize the package. Yeah, it's just important to take accountability. It's the difference between them and the rest of the field. Yeah, yeah. What happened today with that left rear? Gooey were just screwing, like just could not. But he did get the wheel on. It just like looks so loose. I was so surprised the wheels stayed on both cars. Like, but the wheels stayed on, so I'm like, because apparently Duddo was like, "Are you happy with it?" He's like, "Yeah, it's good." But we're looking at it like, I don't know if it's even on. Yeah, it did not look like it went in properly, but apparently it was fine. And just, oh my god. And it was like, uh, yeah. Usually you visibly see it like sink into the car. It didn't even move. Yeah, it just fucking just rattled around. They said maybe it's overtensioned. Oh, okay. Yeah. I said, Mark, don't give me a heart attack. Uh, I think at first, like, I think it was on Brown's car, they were like, um, oh, what did they say? They're like, is that the previous tire or is this the new one? I don't want to see this car's wheel falling off. Yes. Oh my god. Oh, but that was yeah. It was shocking a lot of people, I think, with that one. But they said it might be because they're hitting the wall. Okay, maybe. Yeah, like it's just a little bit loose, but it's still solid. Yeah, and like it's great that like AAA back their mechanics and they're like, "Is it good?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's good," and then it doesn't fall off. Bro getting jumped in the pit, so yeah. Okay, I think what happened was when Chaz was behind Brock, there's still a little bit of fuel saving. I reckon that's what he was doing. He was like, maybe he think he had a bit of pace, and so he saved a bit of fuel, and uh, and then they just got him. But yeah, Brock was talking about fuel economy, and I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't think that they have fuel economy as like a thing anymore. I thought that's what the cannot afford that after the race. Yeah. And that's the thing, right? They should have been able to time it too and keep the position. They should have been, but instead they were like, well, we need to make sure we've got enough fuel. You can't bank on De Pasquale putting Courtney in the fence every single race. So later in, if that happens, you lose the championship because of that. Yeah. Well, hopefully they don't lose the championship over one position. Hopefully it doesn't come down to that because that would be crazy. I'm not expecting things to be that close, but it was pretty close this weekend. So, yeah. Um, I'm gonna wrap it up. If Feeney or Payne win, there'll be no qualms. But if anyone else wins, it'll be an uproar. Yeah, yeah. Um, if yeah, I mean if Chaz wins, it'll just be a good vibe story. What do you call it? Good news story. I don't think I wouldn't be upset if Chaz won the championship. I'd be like, well deserved. Um, I think that he deserves it. Chaz deserves a championship. It'd be pretty disappointing if Feeney didn't get it though. It's because he's a nice bloke. He's a nice bloke. He's a great driver. He puts incredible performances. But no way. Yeah, we want to see Feeney get the championship. He's so far back in the championship. Yeah, well, that's what finals is doing. It's bringing the championship closer, so that the people who have actually been qualifying, basically, Brock Feeney's been doing such a great job this year that finals is not beneficial to him within 300 points is fair. Yeah, but he's not. He's like he was 500 points off outside 300 is fucked, yeah. Where's Chaz? There's no way you just said that. Look at that. This that's 800 points down on Brock Feeney. Finish shit all year and get saved. Yeah. Like, what? I'm just looking at these numbers being like, he should not, like, he's that far down the order. Makes it into finals just based on position because everyone else has been worse. Wins 2 races at the Gold Coast, and now he's in with a serious shot at winning the championship. If it wasn't the finals, he would not be anywhere near winning the championship. He's bloody second now. Exactly, he's second. He's gone from was it 6th to second. Yeah. They were ruled out ages ago. But I tell you what, I don't hate the finals. I thought it made the racing really interesting this weekend. It was great to see who's where, what are they doing, what's going on. That stuff was cool. And watching Kostecki and Wood trying something to try and win the race. Think about if it was like Di Pasquale. Yeah, yeah. If it was Anton, everyone would be triggered. You are right. Yeah. So yeah, basically, it's got to be Feeney or Payne, but I think it definitely has to be Feeney. Even if Payne won the championship, I'd be like, that car was never good enough to win the championship. So it's got good PR, so everyone will be okay. Yeah. Finchetto, yeah, I don't know how he's second. uh, yeah, it's just nuts. I don't even remember seeing his car going, fuck, that car's fast. Yep. Um, is that Chaz or is that Payne? Because Payne was really fast at Taupo. I don't think Mostert was that fast anywhere though. He scammed a second. Yeah. Taupo, yeah. Yeah. Mostert won the first race. Yeah. He won the first race, but Payne was dominating. So the qualifying was a bit mixed up, I think, because of the super soft. Was Mostert's the super soft race? His only race win all year until this weekend. Yeah. Mostert won the super soft race, yeah. So Payne won the big ones. But yeah, like look at this. This is not a championship winning season. And neither is this, not really. It's no. This is a championship winning season. If Brock Feeney does not win the championship, we have been robbed. But racing because the finals is good, yes. But the grand scheme of things, yes. The correct championship winner is Brock Feeney. So, anyone else, it's just a fireworks show. So like a Brody, yeah. Well, Brody is out, so yeah. If somebody comes and is having a crappy year, comes through and just steals all the chocolates at the end. Well, don't they have that in NASCAR with the playoffs? Joey Logano, who's just like has been crappy all year, and Tank all year is only 3 years in a row. I mean, yeah, I think Joey Logano is like is fluked. He starts getting names next to lands and shit. Yeah, pisses me off so much. Yeah. Yeah. People talking about like, yeah. Yeah, I think I've got this is the Tail and Bend stuff. Yeah, they're talking about DJR getting really good. And I'm like, when? He got a win, and then they went to the Bend, and then they won, and they got Polar Bathurst. The rest of the time is just been getting fifth, and then top tens. No context into how the championship is going. Yeah. Yeah, it's just like made artificial. But so I think that the Sprint Cup should have mattered more. Because they should have showed how it would look even without finals. Yeah. Um. Well, actually, I have it here with my thing here. See, this is after Bathurst. All right. And because, what was it? Because Payne got the win at Bathurst, he actually closed the gap quite a lot. He's 50 points from Brock Feeney. Except then they go to the Gold Coast, right? Feeney's got 2 seconds. Payne didn't get on the podium at all, got top 10. So Brock Feeney's pulled a gap on Payne. Then we got Will Brown, but Will Brown had a kind of a stinker. So even if Chaz won, like Chaz grabbed 300 points, he's still too far down the order to be close. Finney opens it up again. Yeah, he's just Finney doesn't need to win the championship in normal conditions. But because it's the finals, that's why Chaz has got a chance of winning the championship. So otherwise, he's nowhere. Will Brown is entering James Courtney defending champion areas. Yeah, that's sad. Sad. Except James Courtney didn't drive for DJR when he defended his title. Otherwise, he probably would have been a lot better. HRT sucked in 2011. The only reason that they were actually decent was because of Garth Tander. Courtney was just having the year from hell, pretty much. Might have been top 3 again. Yeah, I think because you got to think like Stephen Johnson was racking up he was racking up podiums. He was top 10 of the championship. That car was good. Like even James Moffat was doing a good job. Like James Courtney, he potentially could have had a challenge for another title. He could have gone back to back. Leading races, qualifying at the front. Yeah. Like, I think he's one of the worst drivers ever. What, James Courtney or Stephen Johnson? He's like so bad. What, James Courtney or Stephen Johnson? Johnson. I don't think he was that bad, but he definitely was getting smashed by his teammates, which made you think. I don't think his teammates were that good, but yeah. He was solid. Stevie J was a solid driver. That's what I'd say. That's why he was shit every era. Really? He had like a couple of really good rounds. No, you can't only have one win. Fuck that. Because he won Canberra, right? And then they got the 2002 Queensland 500. They took the 17 off him for the 2012 race. Did they really? Did they really? Hang on. Oh, hang on. Gave it to Moffat. Did they actually? They actually did that? That's insane. 2012 Bathurst 1000. If it wasn't the number, it was delivery. Yeah, I know they had, like, special liveries because they had True Blue. Um, what's this? This is the entry list. Okay, so number 17, James Moffat, Alex Davison. Number 18, Stephen Johnson, Alan Simonson. Yeah, what? Yeah. Who drove, the True Blue one in 2012? He was a disappointment. Yeah. Moffat did. Moffat had the True Blue, right. Hmm. Changed the livery on race day. Okay. Interesting. Huh. We got, in 2013, when Johnson retired. They didn't even sign him as an enduro driver. Yeah. They brought him back in 2014 though. And he was actually doing a pretty good job, and then fluid went on the wheel, and then he span into the wall, and the team was dying. They couldn't even sign their free enduro driver. They needed someone to bring money, and that wasn't going to be him. So, but even then, it's like, was FPR paying to put Mostert in the car? Because I guess Johnny Reed was bringing a bit of money. He's just always been ass, man. All right. Oh, all right. There's no way. There's no way your own dad takes the number off you. Yeah, you've been racing with all year. Yeah, the one race your dad's iconic for. Yeah, it's like, yeah, we're gonna put 17 on this other car. Oh my god. Um. Yeah, you did. Yeah, thank you. That'd be good. I'm falling asleep here. But yeah, you're cooking there with the Stevie J thing. I'll probably make a clip out of that one. Yeah. Yeah. We got a few clips out of the last one too, so yeah, we got stuff. So yeah. Thanks for coming to the stream, dude. And we'll catch you next time. Right, be shit drivers that piss me off. All right, good night. Good night, dude. Bye bye.